upgrade these guys, particularly for anti-submarine warfare, but we'll also do naval weaponry too, since it's fairly low cost, all things considering. So there we go. We have that in a little better condition. We also want to see about taking care of the pesky Soviet subs now. Oh boy. Again, how not to play. Or how not to invade the Soviet Union. Partisans broke out there because I did not leave enough of a garrison. And the armor penetrated there, and we've almost lost this army. Not a corps, an army. So we're going to start off here by... see if we can... yeah, 6. That'll probably get it survivable. We'll cut off the armor. Now, let's hit them with air power before we do much. Oh, good, no Soviet air in there. Well, that wasn't much up with that. Maybe more help. Okay. Ouch, a bit, of course. Hello, Skokolokos. Good to see you. Okay, that armor is now in a bit of a world of hurt. Okay. We have this other situation here. That I want to put an end to. I'm going to withdraw him. Yeah. Partially, I want to get him back here where hopefully, let's just check. Yeah, we're actually going to withdraw there. Better supply. I want to try to rebuild them instead of continue to grind them down. Yes, partisans all over. Most assuredly. Most assuredly. Hey, Ambroso. Good to see you. Glad to have you here. And yeah, that looks like a plan. Okay. We are bringing up some rockets that will help. Mech, or these guys can help out there. So let's... ooh, that was a great hit. Great one, great one. Okay. Ouch a bit, but... okay, these guys, I think I'd rather, instead of attack, I think only to 6. Yeah, I don't know that I like that, but a little worried about it. Again, I'm learning about it. No, I think that's about as good as we can get there. Okay, now here. I really want to... and maybe I'm pushing again too far. I'm 0 right now. Okay, next turn 3. So I like cutting their rails. The aircraft unit. Good. Good. If we can. Shattered. Great, 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 great. Hello, Lancer. Good to see you. And also, hello, the Night Wolf, 49. Tor Grimmer. I hope I'm getting that reasonably close. Good. Got a lot of good friends here. Okay. Now you've attacked. Hopefully that was a smart decision. Also, we're looking for got to keep him there to keep those two partisans suppressed. Okay. Well, we might as well. If we can rebuild this somewhat. Now here, you know, I think I want to come down here and move them up there. Hopefully that'll have a reasonable supply. Not great, but now up here. We're going to rebuild this armor unit. Oh, what? Yeah, max, that's good. Oh good, we can finally move them forward a bit. Yeah, we're good. Get rid of their garrison unit. Yeah, take a little bit of a hit. Hello, Crash Landing. Good to see you. Moscow's in your grasp. Gamer, let's get it. Well, boy, I would hope so, but trust me, it looks daunting from my perspective. It looks daunting here. Hello, Tony First Gen. Good to see you. And Dead Meat. Hello. Yeah, we do have supply situations. We have one Italian corps trying to supply two. That's why I actually moved him down a little bit, because get him within that supply radius. These guys here are actually fairly good. Well, I think we may need him up here a bit more. Oh, again, I'm getting... Okay, yeah, this. Between the two, hopefully get enough supply up there. He's still stuck back here doing anti-partisan work, and I need more garrisons up front. Up at the front. Down here needing supply. If I can get him closer, might do some good, might not. I'm really hoping to continue to put pressure here, which we've almost dealt with this. Okay, he could attack. Didn't take him down, unfortunately. Oh, it did take him down. Okay. Oh, cool. Oh, good. Battered. Keep looking around the screen at different places. Yeah, let's see what that does to the AI. He retreated back. So, see how they shift and react to that. Maybe pound this guy, but hopefully he'll survive. Okay, so that's all right. Now here, okay, we're gonna retreat. He can't attack anymore. He's out of supply, or enough that he is not able to invade again. So these guys are gonna unparachute ready him and move them to here. These guys were going to max reinforce. Get them back onto whatever is necessary. Italian escorts. Reasonably effective. They get one good hit on these guys. Oh good, that's very good. Well, didn't kill him. Again, what will be the supply? One. Well, we're going to risk it. I want that forward. There we go. Let's see if we can rebuild this up to a useful level. Yeah, Cyprus is a disaster. I'll be critical of things when I think so, and you know, I have a good relationship with the Fury Software people who build this. Slytherin is again the publisher, but Fury Software people are a really great bunch of people. I wish I could do parachute landings directly on top and of another unit instead of having to go with open space and have it as a do or die situation instead of this damn limbo, because I can strike at them, I can come in with air power, and I can get them down to 1, but in one turn, in a 2-week period theoretically, they can almost completely rebuild the unit. Now if they could almost rebuild the unit, you know, like go back to 4, and then, because if I drive them down to 1, they go back to 4, and then I maybe be able to hit them the next turn enough to drive them to 0. Or if, you know, each successive turn they can only rebuild back to 3 without a pause, and you know, slowly grind them down. But they seem to have an endless ability to resupply, and I have 0 supply. I could probably do, what is it, saying 1 here, because they are paratroopers and capable of fighting without some supply. But it's a disaster. I totally agree with my decision to go in there and how I handled it. Yes, that's what. Oh no, yeah, exactly. What I mean is land directly on top and stay there and have that as a win or die situation. Yeah, I've tried the blockading, Wavell. Blockading only seems to work effectively, and again, I have not read the manual, I'm not one for reading, is where you have the reddish, purplish, whatever color, sort of probably red with mixed with blue, turning it to purple, but hashes. If you were to, if it had one of these outside of here, outside of the port, it would be blockadable, but it is not. And similar, Malta is not blockadable. And so, quite honestly, I don't know if somebody how to defeat. I just don't know how to defeat Malta other than trying to just do an invasion and smashing into it. And I again don't know what forces it would take. Let me max reinforce that. Now let's come down here. This is really a bright spot for me. Obviously, we're winning. You know what's winning? Winning is denying the enemy their goals and objectives. So, like if you're up here with this unit here, we won with this army. They had us down to, and see, this is because now this is better supply limitations. But this is sort of what I'm thinking is they had us down to a strength of 1 army, and their victory would have been the destruction of that. By being able to push that up to 6, yeah, that's gonna not be able to because it's cut off. But those and swapping some units out, they could maybe take that one down if they have some air power or something which they have up there. But it's currently raining. They might be able to still smash it, but we won by not losing, and that's also. I push, and I'll do this again. Let's go back to proper anti-submarine mission here. Well, now we found them. Are they within range? No, but let's hit with that. Okay, they went into port into Haifa, so I'm not going to chase them, but we're going to come here. See if that does, because we can't go right into the port, if that helps. Ask them politely. Yeah. Would you please mind leaving Nicosia? We sort of wanted to use that, because I wanted to use that as another airborne landing opportunity over here, as was my goal, my objective was, 1 airborne drop there, then another airborne drop here, opening up another front. The goal, the objective. Okay, now, so we're winning down here in that we've cost them some units. We still hold this again, and I don't want to, and I'm quite honestly forgotten it. Don't reinforce Abyssinia or Ethiopia. Not here on chat, but on my channel early in this series. It's just not worth it. Well, yeah, they've killed a corps, but we've killed a couple of theirs. We killed an army, and they are hurting badly. Ooh, they're down to 1 strength, so we'll see what they can rebuild. We're going to rebuild. So like this, I completely agree. Up 1, up, almost, but not that. And I would make that. I guess what I'm saying right now, because I'm analyzing this game, and they're of course free not to take my analysis. I would make it, generally speaking, not to be able to replace more, if more than half the strength at any one time, any one turn. So this is obviously could be a 10 strength unit. So you couldn't replace more than 5 strength in 1 turn. So right now it's at an 8. Sure, I can put it back up to a 10 if it's within supply and within, all of that kind of thing. And so we could go to back up to 10. But if it's down at, say, at 4, I can't just jump it to a 10 in a a 2-week period. I could jump it to a 9 maybe, so not more than half of its strength. Whether you round up or down for a 5 strength unit would be another matter. So that's how I would probably do reinforce 2 ships. Asimov. Okay, well, we can move in. Oh, I don't know that I'm getting to Moscow. Arno's being nice, cheerful, and encouraging me on to get this. I'm more pessimistic. I'm not pessimistic on the idea that I think right away we're gonna. Now, where I do think, and I don't know what's going to happen to this by the Soviets by that time period. But if I get these guys, three heavy that are advanced tanks, one regular that are level 2 advanced tanks, and this one, if you remember from last week, was sort of a misclick, and it's not advanced tanks, but still. So 5 pieces of armor. That plus some reasonably healthy corps and army groups. We've got some of these in here. I think we can see about pushing up into here and into there. I really think that would be a possible thing. Now, what will the Soviets have by that time? I don't know. So that's what I'm sort of feeling with. We're going to max you out. Just, yeah. Okay, so. Now let's head out to the Pacific. Okay. Now we're going to get these guys ashore. Paratroopers. They're in rain. Now, we have some American subs up there. So we're going to move some destroyers in that direction. And here, let's see if we can... The Corregidor command left Corregidor. I don't know what the AI was thinking with that. We'll move you out of the capital. You to the capital, because we want to see about loading you onto boats. Mentioning that, let's see what we can do here. Damn, not close enough. Oh shoot. Oh well. Subs take on subs? Nope, not effectively. Okay, well. We're going to go look for greener pastures. They're heading back home to deal with this guy if he's going to linger around here. Now, we know they have a sub. We're going to come down to here. You guys get on board too. So, get into Occupy. I think there's just Manila for partisans here. Oh, yeah. So we gotta see about occupying that. We want to have some other potential spots. Okay. Oh man, look at the way this harbor works. We spend all the time just getting out there. We're going here to head to Hawaii. We're going to get on board here. Come down here. We're going to go to Nehru. I think that was bauxite mines out there, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. We know there's some air power over here, so we're going to come over here. Yep. Good. Grind on that a bit. So that they will no longer be attacking my fighter aircraft that may be supporting operations. There we go. Still got the bombers. We'll deal with those. Let's see what's out there. Do some reconnaissance. we suffer some casualties, but we're there. I don't even know if I want to move further in. No, phosphate. Oh, okay. Thanks, Newhauser. I knew there was something. Well, there's some island out somewhere. Yeah, it's very vague. Some island out somewhere. But that Japan really exploited for aluminum. And I don't remember. A fairly smallish island. Maybe it was closer to home. For bauxite, that Japan during the war really expanded the bauxite mines and got, I don't know, 50-60% of their bauxite for aluminum. These guys, let's okay, that. Now up to China now. Okay, well, we're doing pretty good here. We've got good weather. That is important. That is very important. Oh, good hit, good hit, good hit. Yeah, we'll take that. So we're going to march these guys down here. Hit them. Okay, they retreated. Yeah. Keep punishing them. There we go. There we go. Now, what I want to do here is, well, let's take a look at where the partisans are going to be. If they start arriving, and I don't want to be out of place if they do. I am paranoid about that. Okay. We're going to swap these guys out. So that'll cover these two potential partisans. He's covering that. Got to remember that. He's covering up there. But hopefully that will better supply. Oh, he's not needed back there, but he could be here. So we'll do that. We'll move a little further forward here. Okay. Oh, that'd be good. Strike. Oh, I want to reinforce these guys. Good. So, that was a very hard hit. That is very, very lovely. Okay. Down to 4. Well. And done. Done. Let's move it to there. There we go. Ah! Let's see, Japanese occupation. Thanks for the history. Japanese occupation of Nauru. The Japanese hoped to exploit the island's phosphate resources and build up their military defenses in the area. They were unable to relaunch the phosphate mining operations, but succeeded in transforming Nauru into a powerful stronghold. Their military defenses in the area were unable to relaunch. Okay, I'm sorry, but succeeded in transferring, which the United States forces chose to bypass. The most important infrastructure built by the Japanese was an airfield, which was a target of repeated Allied airstrikes. Yes, very good for Oakenshield. He deserves a round of applause for that nice post. Thank you very much. I really love added history to any of the streams. I think it makes them much better. Okay, Wake Island, here's another one. We need to what's gonna be 59, 74. I'm gonna risk a regular invasion and get out there. Hopefully we can take Midway down as well. Get that out of Allied hands. So we are making some moves out here in the Pacific, but back up to here. Okay, so we've taken out that Chinese army. We push this corps back. I want to put some pressure on here. Ouch. But because you got to realize, if you don't put any pressure anywhere up here, they're going to be able to concentrate more down here. So yeah, let's move here. They do already have plenty here, but we want to keep pushing. Keep pushing. Now down here, we want to get to that capital. Our escorts are operating right. Ouch. Okay, well, let's... Our strategic bombers. I think they have 3 air units now. And they may be gaining a British one here soon. Everything right there. We're just pounding them hard. Let's swap these 2 units out and strike. Oh good, we've got that. Now can we move any other unit forward? No. But we will go forward with them. There we go. Okay, so now we are sitting literally on the outside of their capital. We can't cross that river, but we will. Yeah, let's. Yeah, defensive artillery. Oh, very good hit. Only cost of 1. Okay. 1 for 1, 0 for 1, so we'll take the 1 for 1. Maybe they'll be weak enough now to, yeah. They'll be able to rebuild this. So that will be a, where if they want to rebuild, they'll rebuild that. Probably move in more forces there, but we're pressing on them. Now, and for places we could reinforce, let's put that up. Yeah, that was worth it. That was worth it. We pushed into there. We pushed into there. Now. Yeah, about what I thought. We're gonna keep him there. Okay, that's looking fairly good. Now, before we forget, let's fight the Battle of the Atlantic. We're just going to have you come home. Oh, and I want to move some air power. We're going to leave one of these guys here, which will cover that. But it seems to be that the British have moved most of their air power. To North Africa, where we've been pounding on it. going to, because they're probably going to come down and look for this guy. So let's hide there. But yeah, let's see about that. This is the one that I forgot to move and almost got completely munched. Go out into the Indian Ocean. Okay. Yeah. North Africa is doing well compared to history, obviously. We're doing great. We've taken El Alamein. We have not been chased, you know, to near Tripoli by the British before the Africa Corps shows up or whatever. So we're doing really good, though. Of course, I lost us the Africa Corps armor. And so this has been done by Italian armies, mostly. A little bit of German, of course, but... Here, let's move you down to here and you to there, I think is where we want to do that. Yeah. Just if we start having outbreaks of partisanism. Can we... Yes, good. That next turn might help with that. Now, another little information tidbit here. Fury Software recently tweeted out a link to, on the Matrix forum, a mod that allows you, and I haven't read it in detail, but I did look at it quickly, allows you to make like combined tasks force into here so that you can put multiple ships into one unit. I don't know how well it's going to work, but so that you can have, you know, a battleship and a destroyer as a single thing now, so that submarines just can't zip in and sink a battleship because they're closely protected by a destroyer. So that's a mod you might want to look into if you want to improve the naval warfare of this game. And again, I don't know how well balanced it is. You know, it's still a mod. I love mods, but sometimes they can be not well play tested, shall we say, and a bit out of balance. But just wanted to bring that out since we're seeing so much naval warfare kind of stuff going on. Now here, okay, we have these guys here, so we're going to come down here. We tried bombarding it before with the... No. Oh, actually hurt us, okay. Nope. Ah, they got special forces there. Good to know. Good to know. Yeah, I think that's reasonably well protected. We shall see, of course. We shall see. Yeah, because we're, I think that's because we've taken a lot of air losses in the battle for, you know, Hawaii and that. I think, I'm not sure, and I'm hoping that we can get here and get into port and control all of this. That's what I'm hoping for. But maybe I should be withdrawing them. But I'm trying not to make the mistake that the Japanese made, which was, of course, to strike at Pearl Harbor, sink the battleships, and then go away and never really come back. I want to carry on and see if we can get a foothold into there, which will hopefully change the dynamic in our favor. That is at least the hope. Yeah, short bombardment may help. With getting Singapore, we will see. Okay, let's look at purchasing things, particularly for Germany, because they're the only ones that have enough units that we might do this. 59. Well, I guess Kesselring will purchase Kesselring here. So he's now in the production queue to get another HQ. Yeah, those guys next turn we will try to rebuild them. Or we could. They did not fly. What would be the upgrade? Yeah, long range is nice, but I don't know that I have the points for that. In a way, actually, here, these guys can either fully rebuild next turn, or they can decide to attack my HQ. Sort of actually hoping they'll attack the HQ, because then they won't rebuild, and they'll be weaker, and we can keep pounding on them. So that's at least the hope. Okay, well, let's end this turn. Battleship Roma is launched by the Regia Marina, the Royal Navy. Allied raiders disrupt. Yep, Manchukuo, that's the submarine up there. The Impudence. Yeah, well, no one likes to stay floating out in the Pacific. Yeah, that's probably quite true. Hello, submarine. Very tactical. Ooh, good job, good job. Oh, they're evacuating or pulling back or something there. See what they do with those units. Pull them out, replenish them. Their armor. Okay, Soviet tanks. Yeah, good. Evade. Evade. Still, you got a little damage. Yeah, shore bombard. Yeah. I would be doing it too, but still. Okay. Good interceptors. You're getting weak, though. We need to reinforce you. And weaker. Ooh, good. Your anti-aircraft guns on the trains work. You good. Alright. Good. Good. You. Those fighters are doing great. Ouch. Good. Fall back, yeah. Like I said, they might be able to win this turn with all that on them, yeah. And they might even free up that armor. Armored trains are really good defensive units. Keep that in mind. And they're also very fire brigade capable because they're able to shift around a lot. And I'm also being hammered now. Ouch. Okay. Ouch. Okay. My pressure's turning on me. coming for you next turn. We're coming for you. Good. Italians, good job, good job. We can get Sevastopol and get the supplies flowing, that'd be great. Good job. War's taking a pounding, but pushing back at them. Yes, yes, they fell into my trap. Hurt me badly, but they fell into my trap and not reinforced. I was hoping they'd also lose some too, but nah. Yeah, I expected that. I think I can reconnect this. Don't know if I can take him out. Had somebody tell me that the AI was passive on this. Not looking too passive to me. Still think I'm going to destroy that one unit of 3 strength armor. Okay, they retreated back here. Okay, well, actually sort of worked out for me. I know it's taking a pounding. Submarines going, looking. Oh yeah, okay, come on. Yeah, you're thinking down here. I know, planning, planning, planning. Yes, you suffer losses. Very good. Yeah, you're done for. You're not being saved. Okay, and they disrupt some of us. Yes, thanks for following the channel, and if you want more great games, please do so. Yep. And we've hurt them by 4, 24, and 8. Very good. Okay, you got a core there. Nice to know. Okay, we have some U-boats at Kiel that could usefully be deployed in the Black Sea for service against the USSR. Sending the U-boats to Constanta in Romania will cost 35 MPP and will provide us with a Strength 5 U-boat there in a month's time. Would you like to send the U-boats to service in the Black Sea? Okay, now historically, they did send some U-boats, and they did send some, sort of motor torpedo boats. The Kriegsmarine did, as well as, I think, various sort of some of their barge type stuff, anti-aircraft barge types, and take over some various local floating things. By that I mean could be fishing boats, could be small freighters. The Kriegsmarine was quite active in the region. They had a special, there were 3 missions, and I may have mentioned this before, 3 missions set up before the invasion of the Soviet Union to Romania. One was a Luftwaffe, which focused heavily on anti-aircraft, and particularly around the Ploetsi area, but also had some, fighter capability and some training capability to train up Romanian aircraft elements. There was a army command sent out there that at least a core strength of units, 3 or so divisions, I forget exactly, and particularly one of those divisions in 1941, just weeks before the start of Barbarossa, there was a massive earthquake in Romania, and clipped out some, digitally, some newspaper articles in the U.S. at the time referring to the big, massive Romanian earthquake, and this is, you know, U.S. is still at peace, and this is in 41. The U.S. is still at peace. This is what the U.S. public knows, that the German army, I forget exactly how, you know, they weren't talking like, oh, we've got troops ready for the invasion of the Soviet Union, but German military mission to Romania helps with earthquake relief. So the units that were getting ready to invade the Soviet Union switch over to humanitarian earthquake relief for the Romanians for a while, to help deal with the major earthquake there. So they were heavily involved in this. And then, of course, the third mission is the naval mission that goes to bolster the small Romanian navy. So that's what happened historically with sort of what was going on. And of course, as the war goes on, more and more anti-aircraft guns are put around Ploiești and other strategic areas in Romania from Allied bombing. Most of the German army mission, of course, moves into the Soviet Union as, you know, the invasion happens, and the Navy keeps working out of Constanta and that region. There's a, you know, I forget the naval hierarchy level, but there's a whole German Navy Kriegsmarine Command set up in Romania for operations in the Black Sea through until the end of, you know, Romania switching sides and, you know, at least temporarily or whatever, taking prisoners and turning most of them over to the Soviets. Italian also sent, oh, okay, motor torpedo boats, thanks Arno. RIP the Black Sea. Now this is U-boats. Yes, we are going to hopefully do that. Hello, Van Bishop. No, we're not completely compromised. Let me grab a Coke here. So we're going to send them. So, okay. Minister of War, Lieutenant Hideki Tojo. Well, by this time, of course, he's also Prime Minister, but he is still Minister of War. We currently have a giant battleship called the Shinano under construction. The ship can continue production as a battleship, or the hull can be converted so it will be completed as an aircraft carrier. Regardless of your decision, the ship is scheduled to be completed at Tokyo Harbor on the 19th of November, 1944. However, if you choose to produce an aircraft carrier, it will need to be properly fitted before it can be sent into battle. Don't know exactly what that means. I'm guessing it means it's going to be at low strength, and we'll have to spend the MPP to reinforce it, is my guess at that time. I think I would rather have another carrier, so we're going to go convert the hull into it. So that was no. Okay, and here we go. We're needing these. I'm going to put one up north and two sort of here in the center to try to deal with some of the partisans out here. Okay, another HQ for Japan. Now that these guys can now move, let's do that. Okay, so we've got reinforcements here. That is very nice. Okay, send you back to harbor. Okay. I want to make the dash in. These guys, let's send them up to here. Now these guys, they have been well, did we successfully? Yes, we don't have anti-aircraft, but I'm not worrying about Soviet air power out at sea right now. That may be a mistake, but like I say, I'm not worrying about it. Okay, we will hunt. I know there's a battleship and a destroyer over there, so we're gonna try to be out here and hunt. And okay, that's pretty weak. Okay, he's fairly strong, so let's bring some escort here. There we go. That needs to be repaired. I don't know if I want to spend the MPP right now. Okay, this mess. And yes, this is a mess. Okay, yeah, we can reconnect that once we... Oh, well, that's not going to be good. Okay, die. Oh, damn. Come on, Hungarians. Okay, where is the partisan? Okay, it's right there. So if we move to there, okay, you can come to here. You'll still be right next to it. Okay, now die. Good. Good. Okay, let's see what we can do here with air power. That was good. That was very useful. That was also useful. Good. I hope that was useful, but didn't actually kill it, of course. Okay, now we want to use him up there, so... These guys, we're not going to risk it. We're just going to max them out. Even when it helps me, I still would like my not fully repairable idea. Max. Well, I'm going to think about that. I thought about it. We're going to do it. So I want to get that supply line open to then have that supply line open to... That's what I was afraid of. Well, I don't know if we can save that army or not. Let's revenge ourselves on these guys up here. Okay, good. They look like they're going to strike up there, I think. Very good. Very good. And... oh boy, that is an almost. Okay. Did I tell you that these guys have great strategic mobility? Yeah, right now my sort of uber weapon is these railway cars. We'll use that to take that. They can zip around, hit in many different places. Yeah, it's wonderful. I quite honestly got the armored train as a curiosity, just to see, you know, how does it work? How is it? Yeah. Hope I'm surrounded. The 14th. Yes, you're absolutely right. Is this actually the 14th Army here? Yep. Yep. Nope. Spotted that. Good. They're surrounded. We can't quite get there this turn. I can't even retreat. They can retreat to there, but I don't know that that would be an improvement. So, but we've taken out that corps. Now here, first off, before they do anything, I want to max these guys out. Okay, we could concentrate there too. Okay, I want to see what the supply is going to look like here and here next turn. Okay, both relatively good. I'm being greedy and going after both. Ouch. Okay. Now. This one looks like it's going to be the more successful, so we're going to reinforce that, strike there. Back with the armor. Back with the armor. Neither of them getting this done. They can make it to there, great. And shattered it, great. Okay. Nobody can quite get there. Occupy it, but still. Oh, well, they could. You guys know I'm foolish, right? Right? Kill the armored train. It's something for the history books. Yes, killed by the armored train. Okay. Can't follow on to attack, but that'll keep them from reinforcing it. Yep, we're going to send the HQ right up to there. Has reasonable defensive qualities. Okay, I think I made the right choice with that. Alright, now up here. These guys can finally get up there. He's just being pounded on and pounded on. So are these guys. We're going to, what would be max 8? Alright. These guys maxed 8. Well, Leningrad's front stalled a little bit, but we're pushing here. That's good. We're pushed here. I think we may, well, no, they may just surround and kill that guy off. Oh man, that's going to be painful, 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 painful. Okay, where do we want our partners? Okay, they've got that covered. They've got that covered. We could use, well. What would be the supply here? Okay, that would be good. We're gonna force march them right up to here. Get them worried. Get them worried. And yes, you guys, that's gonna be your home right there. You get to live there. Fight the partisans. Now up a little bit further to the north. Okay, well, our Free Indian Legion will head them this way. I know I want to put one partisan there. Okay, well, that is looking good. Yeah, the officers get to fight. We will see about how well we can deal with that. Okay, well, now down here. I think Cairo would be the better choice if we could take it, but I don't know. Oh good, okay, that's not just reducing down. Okay, there's not enough supply. Did they have another shot? Yeah, I didn't use them last time. Okay. Oh, they really withdrew their air. Swap these guys out. Hit them. Hit them. Hit them. And they're done. Okay. They lost their fortifications. Now, too bad. These guys can't still have the action points to move there. Let's see about these guys. Good. Good, our anti-tank did some good there. Oh, now we can move into there. Good. Oh, I think it's just fine just to get in and start flanking their capabilities. Move forward. How do you handle HQs? Full auto or micromanagement? I micromanage everything, and maybe not always for the best. I will readily say that. So yeah, try to keep them near the front. These guys got attacked because of my sort of games here with this. They're gonna move here. These guys are gonna move here. They might get attacked. Now they can be reinforced a little bit. Can these guys? No, no, no. Okay. Yeah, that just isn't worth attacking. Don't know that I made the right decision there. Meaning I probably should have reconnected, but I was worried about that rail connection supply. If I could just retreat to there, I would do it. Okay. Oh my goodness, no, we have those guys covering there. Okay. So now let's give this a bit of a try. Wow. Just not close enough. Oh, so this is where they're moved all the way back to there. Okay. No damage. No damage. Long range has greater supply, so they'll be able to press harder, longer on the enemy. There, oh well, didn't find him. I was looking for the subs there. Okay, down here, down here. Rain, 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 go away. Oh man. Okay. Okay, that was a mistake. Alright, well, that was a mistake we learned. Okay, well, now here, oh, can't operate into the rain. The Marine saved at least from the aircraft by the rain. destroyer close enough. Doesn't look well. That one's going north to see about dealing with. Nope, you're not there anymore. There he is. I was looking for you. Okay, we didn't have good settings. I think is going to be why that didn't work out. Now you guys come down here. March down here. You're going to be the occupiers there. Oh, what's our current? Okay, 336. So we have basically enough. Let's. Oh man. I'm gonna put it on the wrong side. Let's. Because that harbor isn't pretty good. Okay. Let's see if we can jump into amphibious transports there. Come down here to Brunei. For that invasion. Oh, there we go. Is it by any chance? No, but we'll head in that direction. Japan had really terrible anti-submarine warfare capabilities with their destroyers. They were probably, of the major powers, they were, well, I don't know, then we throw in Italy, that maybe even, no, I would say the Italians, from my reading, the Italians had better anti-submarine capabilities than the Japanese. They were about the worst. They were about the worst. Let's see, I agree, you can get away with being sloppier versus DL, although I reckon you can tend to follow the command bonuses and supply. Supply is priority number one. Supply is a huge priority in this game. You're absolutely right. Okay. Now, let's see if we can do some more shore bombardments. Let's... Nope, not there anymore. Flew away somewhere. You guys are still here. Okay. Well, we're just going to hang out here, I guess, until next turn, and hopefully we can capture a port with them. These guys, let's come down here and capture that. Okay, hopefully we can put the phosphates back into production here. Yes, we're going in completely unescorted and probably really stupid, but then again, you know I'm really stupid, so that works. Works for me. Okay, let's see now. We're gonna head here. You guys can sort of head up to here, I guess. Still of some use, surviving for a long time. Okay, no, you're still there. Nah. Let's come down over to here. Oh, look, of all the places, boom, right next to there. Oh man, what luck do I have? Ha 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 ha. Ha ha ha. He's just sitting right there. Oh yes, okay, yeah, well. My luck indeed. My luck indeed. Because that's a, you know, reasonably good move on my part. Yeah. So yeah. Okay. You head back out to sea here. Now let's see if we were to come up to here. What would we see? Okay, well, let's see if we can catch that little bit of a wave there and there. Okay. We haven't attacked here yet. Okay. Ouch. No, give them the pleasure. But that is working. Okay, guys. Now for the China War. Yes. Stumbling right into disaster. Okay, well, up here. Yes, max out. There we go. How interesting. They were unable to repair or rebuild that. Let's just pull that back there. You come in here. And kill that core. Very good. Okay, so that's putting pressure on the north. Keeping them looking in that direction. Okay, they couldn't afford, or either supply or couldn't afford, though I'm sort of surprised if it's supply. Rebuild that armor. I'm guessing afford, but... And now they no longer have fortifications there. I'm a little surprised they didn't withdraw that armor and move the army corps up. Now, for pushing on their capital. Let's start off with some artillery. Interceptors, fine. Okay, bombs, but not. Ooh, they got hit hard. Okay. Yeah, it's more like how hard I expect to be hit. Oh good, actually knocked them down one. Could we possibly do this? Probably not. We can't have such high hopes. Actually thinking we're gonna see, we're not doing that. These guys need to come further forward. Okay, again, let's look for supply levels. Okay, yeah, that looks like a decent spot. Well, actually, China didn't have any tanks that they built. China had before the war starts, China gets some Panzer Is from Germany. They, I think, have a few. I think this is a. I know the Japanese had some. I think they had a few FT-17 types. I mean, just a handful of those, maybe, left over from World War I that they may have gotten the interwar period. I seem to remember some units. Now, maybe by the time the war with China is going, none of them are operational. But in the interwar period, they're having some of the FT-17s. And then once the Germans withdraw their military support for Chiang Kai-shek, and through the 1920s into the early 30s, you know, before Hitler comes to power, Germany's primarily an ally of China. Even though both China and Japan had joined the Allies to grab up German territory. Tinsin or Ting Tao or somewhere, I think here, there was the German concession, you know, sort of like Shanghai, but it was German controlled. I think that was here. So China wanted that, and of course, Japan wants out here. A lot of these islands were German colonies. So they both have reasons for jumping into World War I to grab up some German possessions. And after World War I, Germany continues its relations with China on a very friendly sort of basis. I think it was here or one of these places. Mao has famously stayed at a sort of a German hotel that's still there, and it's very much done in sort of like, I don't know, I'm going to say this, but like Bavarian or some sort of building style that it was built as. French tanks as well as the Renault. Okay, yeah, okay. Tsingtao. Good, great. So I'm getting this more or less right, because I'm going off of memory here. So that Mao had stayed there. And so there's sort of actually fairly good feelings between the Chinese and the Germans. And the German has its military mission. Now, it continues after China, or after Hitler comes to power. But ideologically, Hitler picks Japan over China, not as a strategic belief, in my opinion, purely in a I think it comes, and it's maybe general, what we think of sort of the samurai tradition, and he does read some about that, and does sort of, you know, I don't want to say he's an expert or anything, but he does read about it. I don't know quite how much, but so he emotionally picks the Japanese as being superior. I think also it comes down to the practical sense. There had been no European or American concessions of possessions within Japan. Obviously, the Americans had sort of shown up to the Japanese and, hey, yeah, you guys running around with swords? Yeah, we've got, you know, American Civil War type weaponry and all of that stuff, and you're dreadfully behind in world technology. And the Japanese, of course, realize that, and that's a power play, a push. Most assuredly, I'm not going to make it not be that, but Japan does sort of wake up to the modern world. China continues to resist through the Boxer rebellions, and it's not just an anti-Western viewpoint, it's an anti-modern viewpoint as well, and they're not necessarily very interested in modern technical developments. I'm not talking nowadays, I'm talking back then. And so Hitler, you know, and Hitler is not well read, but he does read things, so it's spotty on how well Hitler knows different things. But so he picks the Japanese side, and so long as there isn't a direct conflict, you continue the German mission to China. They equipped, I think it's like 3 Chinese divisions. One of them famously is the 88th Infantry Division. It's equipped with a lot of, I think they're the ones that get the Panzer ones. The 88th is destroyed outside of Nanjing, trying to, you know, block, at least functionally destroyed. Not saying that there wasn't some, sort of like, you know, some of the divisions that were destroyed in the Stalingrad pocket, you know, 6 months later or 3 months later, they're back, they exist. Well, yeah, they're basically new divisions that they took the garrison, the sort of home garrison areas, wherever a particular division was, took those cadre, used them, and basically created an all-new division using the old name and number to try to pretend that it didn't get destroyed. So it's different than just, oh, we have this and we're going from level 1 back to level 10 or something. They are destroyed and they're rebuilt using the sort of same names. It may be something sort of like that survivors get out, because it was a well-trained division, but as a functional unit, it's done. And these are some of the Chinese you see wearing German helmets. Now some of these units, the German equipped unit element, have been withdrawn back to Chongqing, so you continue to see some of that through to the end of the war. But those get pulled out. Falkenhausen? Probably messing that up, I think was the main Vickers. Okay, they also had some Vickers. Yeah, a lot of people bought the little Vickers vehicles. Now, I've seen some photos, I think, of the Japanese using some Whippet tanks. You know, those are the sort of somewhat quick World War I British tanks armed with machine guns and a few other things into the late 30s. And if you're just fighting against people with, you know, bolt-action rifles and machine guns, World War I tanks still work, you know. Yes, it's von Falkenhausen. Thank you, Arno. Very good. And so is leading that mission. Now, once the war really sort of gets kicked off, between not just little skirmishings, but it's really sort of going, Germany withdraws its advisory mission to China. I remember seeing a photograph, not aerial, but from some high vantage point, looking down on the train as they're sort of all the Germans, and there's a lot of civilian types that are withdrawing too, are getting on board the train, and there's big, long, you know, some sort of long banner type swastika flags on top of the train so as not to be hit, bombed. Now, similarly, at around that time, or maybe a bit later, there's photos of United States Navy personnel getting off, unloading from a dock in Shanghai. Forget one of the Hamburg lines or whatever, and it has a big, I think it's painted swastika on top of the cover. It's a dock that's fully, you know, it's open sides but fully covered, and has a big swastika, you know, red flag swastika thing painted on it, because it was a German-owned dock. And this is in the you know, late 30s, you know, when the war is raging in China, but Europe is still at peace. So the U.S. are using German corporate, but they have the big national flag docks on them, so as not, and they're put there so as to try to, hopefully the Japanese won't bomb those particular docks or near them because of the improving relations with the Japanese. But the U.S. the Navy is conveniently using docks to land troops ashore to help guard the Shanghai concession at that time. So that's sort of going on. So that's withdrawn. Now, as that gets withdrawn, and what is, we're seeing a medium tank unit that gets destroyed here. What is definitely they get, and probably not in these core size units, but then Japan really wouldn't have a core sized armor unit, though they theoretically could have built them. You start seeing a lot of Soviet tanks. I don't remember seeing many of the BT tanks or their destroyed elements. Most of the BT series I see that Japanese are standing on doing the bonsai thing are photographs from the sort of Manchuria skirmishes that Japan and the Soviets happen with. They're mostly the T-26 little light, slower infantry light tanks that quite a few, much more, because it's I would say less than 25 Panzer I's get sold to China. So they're basically all destroyed, or I think 4 or 5 are enough that are good enough shape that the Chinese the Japanese put back into service of the Panzer I's as, you know, basic occupation duties or support to some frontline division or something. I don't know, but not into any armored formation. Just like here's a few tanks with machine guns on them thingy. So yeah, at least one for this scale of game is appropriate that would be Soviet supplied light tanks. Now, basically all of the rest of the Chinese tanks that are American equipped are really fighting down in the Burma, India theater. Hope you guys like some of this history, because got another little thing before we continue with the game. China had multiple armies, all at the same time. Now, by the time we really, and let's discount the communists for the moment. By the time the start of the war with Japan, the idea of the Chinese Civil War is basically over. All of the warlords acknowledge a central government and fly at least a version of the sort of Chinese national flag that we still see in, well, you know, this type of flag. Sometimes differenced a bit, and this is different from the top. There's a different sort of banner. I don't know what it says in Chinese that's up there, but the warlord armies, to one degree or another, are recognizing that China is a unified governmental situation, but they haven't given up complete and total control over their forces and their troops. Okay, so we sort of know about that kind of situation, and so say, because we noticed there was a corps up here, say this army up here, you know, and I don't mean an army as in army size, but the military / political type structure up here won't necessarily respond to orders coming from Chongqing. It might, but if it like said, shift this army down to here, yeah, probably the answer would come back, yes, as soon as we can, and then not do it because they'll, if keep being pressed on it, they will come up with excuses. Okay, there's that type of different armies, but there are other armies. There were two military academies. One was the, I'm going to butcher this again, but starts with a W, Waopeng, or some sort of similar title, and then another one, I think we would normally start it with the H. No, there maybe even the Hangzhou. I'm not sure, but there were two military academies that most all of the Chinese officers throughout China graduate, and these two academies have significant rivalries, including being on, I think, different factions in the earlier 1920s Civil War eras. Don't know a whole lot about that, but there's another interesting, because China's big. China needs to collect taxes. China needs to take the taxes from where they are and get them to wherever the central government is. Mostly we're talking Nanjing in this time frame. Peking is sort of, at this time frame, sort of recognized as some sort of, you know, historical kind of capital, but, you know, the practical capital is in Nanjing. So get there. So the Treasury Department of China has its own army, literally an army scale unit, and I mean, you know, as big as an army, that is operating within China. And although they're not really so much like the guys going in and, you know, collecting the taxes, but their main job is to escort the taxes from wherever it is to wherever it needs to go, and potentially also back out to, you know, make payments, so that it's not hijacked by, whether you want to call them a local warlord or just a local general or government officials, so that, and it's recognized as part of the overall Chinese army, but it's under the direction of the Treasury Department. Well, during the 1920s or so, there's a program in the United States to try to train Chinese officers, as well as other. They also bring in, and you can see this in the propaganda, particularly just before and after America enters the war, a lot of other university students. These are mostly university type students, but it's not just military, but part of it is military. One of the main trainers is the Virginia Military Institute in Virginia, the U.S., and it's still there today, and it's about as respected as West Point, the VMI. And so it trains a bunch of Chinese officers. Well, when they get back to China, none of the Chinese military organizations wants to have anything to do with them, because they're sort of in one of the two camps of the you know, the two military academies. And so basically all of those officers, and one of them gets very high up and eventually becomes in charge of them, of the Treasury Department's army. So all of the basically all of the officers that come back from the United States end up in the Treasury Department army, and it is, oh, you might guess, well financed. So it has a lot of the best equipment. It is not one of the they're not one of the German trained or equipped units, but they are one of the their units are some of the better trained units. But they owe very little loyalty to the sort of military hierarchical establishment, including Chiang Kai-shek's sort of hierarchical elements. Well, so these are very good units. They withdraw out and don't die stupidly. Well, a couple of the divisions that end up getting sort of what happens here, but get cut off. So far, Japan historically had a little better push into getting here and getting Burma, of course, than I have. So they did better, most assuredly. And so I think there were 3 divisions in total cut off. I think it was 2 of them are from the Treasury Army, get cut off and retreat to India. And so they become well equipped by the Americans. And the Americans have fairly high confidence in these. Let me read what Sokolokos says. Yeah, they tried to avoid. Yes, absolutely. They definitely tried to avoid combat with the Chinese or with the Japanese, and we're getting ready to fight the nationalists. The main reason today they're censoring everything. Yes, you're absolutely right. That. Yes. So we see that, and so these are very well trained troops bring into India, and they are basically American equipped, somewhat American trained, but also somewhat British trained as well and supplied. And there's multiple reports or references people that they would sort of, the British would send some officers that may have had some experience in China or somewhere, and they would try to speak to some of these Chinese officers in, the British would, in Pidgin, sort of know the what becomes the sort of mixed language between English and Chinese and probably some other stuff, Pidgin. And they would be shocked when the Chinese officer would speak back to them in English with an American Southern accent, because most of them went to the Virginia Military Institute, and so they'd be shocked that they would be speaking very clear American Southern English. And so that was an interesting cultural thing. So there's a lot to China that I don't know about, but these are just some of the stuff that I have read. And so very interesting situation. Now, like I say, those guys, the army down here, did get some Shermans and I think some of the Lee Grants, I'm pretty sure, and a few things like that maybe in the later stages, once Burma is retaken and pushed in there, that got some American armor into China proper. But otherwise, the regular medium armor is probably inappropriate for China to build on its own, unless it's given by events or whatever. At least that's my impression of the situation. I hope that was all entertaining